It's like no place you've ever been in your whole life.
Throughout today's youth, a certain type of diseased thought is running rampant in their minds, one that comes from a source so commonplace that no one bothers to give it a second glance. While the influence from this large corporation can hardly be suppressed due to its widespread authority, it is still important to be informed of the poison that has been spread through children of all ages, ethnicities, and social statuses. Animated Disney films have a negative effect on children on a subconscious level due to the amounts of subtle racism and sexism contained in them, giving them a negative self-image and a feeling that racist and sexist behavior is natural and acceptable. Disney is an incredibly widespread corporation, and it reaches many facets of every child's life throughout various forms of media. Stores such as Walmart and Target all over the planet offer toothbrushes, dolls, t-shirts, party favors, and many more kinds of merchandise, all brazenly displaying the Disney logo and the faces of the company's more popular characters. This invasion into the homes of Americans is intentional, with its movies advertising for its parks advertising for its products, and so on and so forth. This all-encompassing reach allows Disney to have as much effect on children of this generation as their parents, school, and even church. The lack of proper and frequent representation of colored people in Disney films give colored children a negative self-image. Studies performed in some elementary schools have shown that, on average, both light and dark-skinned children believe it is more likely for a Caucasian person to be successful or live happily ever after. Disney has been notorious in the past for portraying characters or using voice actors of color in small, often derogatory roles, but the simple appearance of someone with darker skin is not enough to appease the need for real representation. This type of exemplification can make a child think that in all social situations, the less generously represented person automatically falls into a less important category. It is negatively affecting the self-esteem of children everywhere, on a regular basis and on a subconscious level. One might ask, how could such an awful thing slide under the radar? One of the largest problems in this situation is that the sexism and racism portrayed in these films is subtle, without explanation, and shown as entirely natural behavior. Problems are present in many popular Disney movies, all of them holding the theme where a strong female lead with seeming individuality and strength is reduced by the end of the story to have no more important interest than to earn a handsome man. In Pocahontas, a young woman who wants to be free rather than go along with the marriage her father has arranged, falls in love with a foreigner and goes against her entire tribe and culture in order to save him from being killed. In Mulan, a headstrong young woman who wishes to keep her father safe by dressing up as a boy and joining the military succeeds in everything she wishes to accomplish, but not without first winning the heart of the general. In The Little Mermaid, a 16-year-old mermaid rebels against her father with her deep desire to learn about the human culture, but does not actually do anything about it until she falls in love with one of the humans, at which point she causes havoc within both societies. In Beauty and the Beast, an individualistic and intelligent woman pushes aside the advances of the most sought-after man in town and proceeds to sacrifice herself to a repulsive beast in order to save her elderly father, and ends up falling in love with said monster, who miraculously turns into a handsome, princely husband at the end. And in Aladdin, a princess who pushes aside the advances of snooty princes and goes against her father's word sneaks out of town, falls in love with a boy nearly immediately, returns to her palace, and then proceeds to fall in love with a prince anyway. These messages are subtle, but they suggest that these things are simply natural, something that happens on a regular basis. But wait, one might say that Disney has been making progress in their more recent movies, notably The Princess and the Frog and Brave. In Brave, Disney breaks from their cookie-cutter romantic plot in order to tell the touching story of a mother-daughter relationship. As stated in a Forbes interview by Tom Watson, an instructor of social media and philanthropy at New York University, Merida is the first animated princess in major American film history who does not fall in love, who does not act on the basis of romantic motivation, and who does not choose a handsome mate in the end. The Princess and the Frog seemed to be a bit of an apology for the misrepresentation of people of color in the past, with the film clearly attempting to avoid racism and explore the African American culture of New Orleans. Tiana, the protagonist, also breaks the mold of previous Disney princesses, making it clear that her goal to one day own a restaurant rises above all other interests, including going out with friends and especially finding and marrying her Prince Charming. This deviates from the concept of previous films in which the female protagonist will drop everything in order to win the affections of a handsome man. With these wonderful films backing up an argument, it could be easily disputed that Disney is showing significant progress in the social area of their movies, creating strong female protagonists and representing people of color in an accurate and positive light. However, while the progress is apparent, it is simply not enough. In The Princess and the Frog, the portrayal of exactly how difficult it would be for a working-class African-American woman in the 1920s to actually buy and run her own restaurant is grossly understated, leaving the audience to rely on their own knowledge to truly understand Tiana's struggles. Disney did not even make the effort to produce historically accurate works, and for no other purpose than to keep the media easy to understand and family-friendly. Concerning Brave, following the release and success of the movie, it was not long before the corporation changed the marketing appearance of the main character, Merida. There were several parents who approved of the strong feminist character of the movie, but were outraged when her authentic looks were stripped away to the Barbie doll appearance of the rest of the Disney princess lineup. They say that the makeover has stripped away the positive things Merida represented to young girls: her confidence, disregard for the way she looks, and her lack of desire to be rescued by a handsome prince. It is as if the company backtracked, regardless of the support they received for producing a character that did not conform to the stereotypical image of a princess, sexualizing her appearance and continuing to contribute to an ever-growing gallery of role models with unattainable appearances for young girls. And issues such as this prevalent racism and sexism can only be resolved by active participation from both the corporation and their audience. The target consumers, that's you, must express their displeasure with inaccurate representations of social dynamics that are being ingrained into the minds of American children. While the problem is not easily apparent, it is still prevalent and is negatively affecting the self-image and behavior of children of all ages, genders, and social class. Without further progress, there is no way for this negative attitude to dissipate. It is instead perpetuated by ignorant parents and a defiant crowd that is too small for such a large corporation to listen to its cries for change.